Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto is making his mark. More than a year into the job, he's putting Indonesia front and centre in global affairs.
He's definitely tough. I don't want to fight him. President Prabowo of Indonesia.
No country is more important to Australia than Indonesia.
He's offered 8,000 troops after controversially joining the Board of Peace, and he wants to negotiate a peace between the US and Iran. At home, in the world's most populous Muslim nation, his audacious plans have begun.
Indonesia now is more and more the land of opportunity.
He promises to eradicate poverty and set the country on a path of self-reliance, helping to create a so-called golden Indonesia.
We have to do intervention from the beginning because we can create a golden generation from now.
Prabowo is swiftly nationalising the economy and expanding the military to achieve his goals. But there are some who worry that his leadership is an echo.
The country was in meltdown.
Of a violent, corrupt and repressive past.
After 3 decades of dictatorship, General Suharto was losing his grip on power.
Prabowo himself is the former son-in-law of Suharto. So I feel like I'm being taken back to my student time, the years where I was hoping that Indonesia could really be a democracy, and now we're going back in reverse.
Suharto!
So the Prabowo era is starting to resemble the Suharto era.
Yes, it is.
Nearly 30 years ago, demonstrators overthrew Indonesia's authoritarian president. What followed was sweeping democratic reforms. But some are worried this current president is putting those hard-fought freedoms at risk. So what are President Prabowo Subianto's plans, and how could he shape the future of Indonesia?
More than 280 million people call Indonesia home. The country stretches across a vast archipelago, and all of its diverse and rich cultures are represented right here, in a theme park inspired by Disneyland.
So whereabouts are we?
We are at Taman Mini Indonesia Indah. So in English, we can call it the miniature of Indonesia. This venue was built in 1975. And then we can see 38 traditional houses from 38 provinces in Indonesia. And also we can hear all the traditional songs as well.
Is this one that we're hearing now?
Like this one as well.
Hussein Fadlulo is our tour guide. He's a young member of parliament representing Prabowo's Gerindra party.
What was his appeal to voters at the most recent election?
What is portrayed during the election, or during the last election, was his true character. He loves, he truly loves the, animals. He loves animals. He likes to make jokes, because people may think that, he was from military, he's very strict, he's very rigid, he's formal. Not really, he's normal human being. Indonesia knows that his characteristics, and then he's very concerned about how the Indonesia should be the greatest country, not only in Asia, but in the world. People, the Indonesian, they want the concrete solution. They don't want the rhetoric. That's why, we launched this program, Nutritious Free Meal. It is very important for the Indonesian future.
you want to feed the nation, you have to start early.
It's 4 in the morning. We're in the suburbs south of Jakarta. We've come to see a massive operation that's been going on all night. Terima kasih, Pak. Selamat pagi, Ibu. Apa kabar?
Alhamdulillah baik.
Baik, baik.
How about you?
Ya, saya baik.
Workers here across 3 kitchens are cooking 9,000 meals. All part of President Prabowo's signature program, free nutritious meals. Staff are under the pump to get a massive amount of food prepped and onto trays before lunchtime. Today, 60 million people will be fed by the Indonesian government. They're serving around the same number of people as McDonald's does globally.
This program is enormous. This kitchen is one of about 20,000 that are operating right across the country. Prabowo Subianto wants this program to feed more than 80 million people by the end of 2026, most of those kids. And the price tag, let me tell you, 335 trillion Indonesian rupiah. That's about 30 billion Australian dollars.
These kitchens we've come to are run by a private provider. By the end of this year, thousands will be operated by Indonesia's police and its armed forces. These meals, now that they're plated and packed, will go to 50 schools in the area. They need to be delivered as quickly as possible. But sometimes it doesn't all go to plan. Since the launch last year, one NGO estimates 20,000 kids suffered food poisoning. We've come to a middle school in a poorer area of Jakarta. The free meals program is targeted at the millions of kids in Indonesia who are malnourished.
Silakan dimakan, silakan.
Dian Fatwa is the spokesperson for the nutrition agency.
This is the free nutritious meals program. Tell me about the nutrition of these dishes for the kids.
Yeah, for the kids that we provide is at least 20% of protein, tofu and the chicken, and that is actually enough for 20% at least.
There have been quite a large number of food poisoning cases as well. Have you and the agency done enough to restore trust in the program?
Yes, of course, that because when the incident happened, it's become a signal. We review and we treat them as a lesson. Free meals is not a structure. It is a system being built while in use.
How would you describe the scale of this program?
So this is not easy job, but this is our moral obligation. And the state has the obligation to make sure these kids actually have the opportunity in the future, because we plan to create a golden generation.
Bima, President Prabowo has been in office for more than a year now. Is he still a popular leader?
Some surveys suggest that the approval rate of Prabowo is above 70%, relatively high. But that's because the lower income family, they receive free meal programs, they receive a lot of energy and food subsidies. That's why the population still supporting of Prabowo.
Permisi, Pak. Ya, tolong kita mau 2 ketoprak. Sedang, ya. Terima kasih banyak, ya.
Bima Yudhistira is an independent economist.
We're just speaking about neighbour, the free meals program. Is it affordable, at a cost of 335 trillion rupiah this year?
I don't think free meal programs or MBG is properly fiscal managed, because we think that the free meal programs already cutting education's health kind of a budget, but also the local government is suffering from the budget cuts because reallocate to the free meal programs.
Who's financially benefiting?
The one that benefit is close circles, mostly the one that support the Prabowo during the 2024 elections, presidential campaign, but also the military, ex-generals, they also involved in many of the Prabowo projects.
In March 2025, countrywide protests were the first major rebuke to Prabowo's plans. Demonstrators were furious at expanding military involvement in civilian institutions, what they considered a revival of the repressive and militaristic Suharto era. From the mid-60s onward, under Suharto's leadership, hundreds of thousands died in purges, conflicts and crackdowns.
1998. In the month of May, the world watched as Suharto's New Order regime teetered, then crashed to earth.
In 1998, Indonesians had had enough. Thousands took to the streets, demanding an end to the 32-year reign of the brutal and corrupt dictator, General Suharto. At the time, Prabowo was a 3-star general who was also part of the Suharto family. As a young officer, he married Suharto's daughter. Prabowo was accused of war crimes in East Timor and West Papua, which he denies. And during the movement that forced the resignation of Suharto, he ordered activists to be kidnapped, something he later said was legal at the time. 13 activists are still missing. Discharged from the military, banned from travel to the USA and Australia, he needed to reinvent himself. So, he started his own political party.
That is why I believe in democracy, because I experienced an authoritarian regime. I was part of it. I think our people want strong leadership, decisive leadership. That does not mean, and I don't think we can ever go back to authoritarian ways.
After 2 failed runs at the presidency, in 2024, Prabowo pulled it off. Rebranded as a cute and cuddly grandpa. His cabinet has more than 100 members, and there is no formal opposition. I'm heading to central Sumatra to see another of the key planks of Prabowo's agenda. An ambitious plan for Indonesia to end its dependency on imported fuel and make the country self-reliant. Indonesia's most expensive import is frequently fuel, much of it from the Middle East.
Take a look at this giant queue of trucks. Now, they're not here to fill up with regular diesel or unleaded. Instead, they're going to be filling up on biofuel. The Indonesian government has mandated what's called B40, which is a mix of diesel and 40% palm oil-derived diesel.
Palm oil is highly controversial. Indonesia has been losing its forests to sprawling plantations. That land clearing has been worsening floods. Prabowo's government has begun a crackdown, but not to close plantations down. They're targeting supposedly illegal plantations and claiming them as their own. Millions of hectares have been taken over, much of it now run by a state-owned enterprise, which has become the largest palm oil company in the world by area. Along with major companies, family farms are accused of operating illegally, sometimes in areas designated as national parks. The military has been sent in to move families on when they've refused to leave. We've been given these videos by distraught villagers.
Masyarakat, kenapa jadi TNI diapakan dengan masyarakat? Dibentrokkan sama kami. Pak, TNI sebenarnya. Terus terang ya.
The country's National Human Rights Commission asked the military to withdraw while the dispute between villagers and the government is settled.
Kita jangan mau diusir sama mereka-mereka ini.
Most locals are terrified of speaking out against the military, but traditional owner Mas Parijat still can't believe he could soon be forced to abandon the birthplace of his grandfather.
Parijat, could you tell me what happened last year when the military arrived on your farm?
Masyarakat ini akan disuruh keluar lagi pada lahan di Taman Nasional. Sementara kebutuhan kami untuk menyolahkan anak kami, untuk makan kami tergantung di sana. Tuh kalau ini terjadi nanti kayak mana ke depannya, anak kami mau sekolah pakai mana, kami mau makan langsung ke hidup kayak mana.
Did you ever expect the military to march onto your farm and say, this is ours now, this is the property of the government?
Enggak pernah. Kami enggak pernah membayangkan itu sebab kami merasa lantar ini keturun tambah lagi. Di sini yang di Desa Kesuma ini sebelum merdeka, desa ini udah ada.
Does this feel like the actions of a democratic government?
Kalau menurut saya ini bukan demokrasi lagi, Pak. Ini bukan negara demokrasi, negara diktator namanya bagi kami ini, kekuasaan yang dipegang oleh pemerintah. Sehingga sewenang dia juga menekan masyarakat yang kecil.
I'm back in Jakarta, home to 42 million people. Now the biggest city in the world. I'm at the National Economic Council, meeting the chair, veteran politician Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, another former military man. He once commanded Prabowo Subianto in the elite Kopassus Special Forces.
He was my deputy, but he's a good person, smart, and dare to take a decision. Yeah, he's a good officer, good soldier.
Luhut is the president's chief economic advisor.
With palm oil plantations, over the last year, the government has claimed quite a lot of land through the Forestry Task Force. Is that being managed appropriately?
Yeah, we'll try to manage this well. Some impact, negative impact here and there, yes, we understand. But overall, yeah, that's the price that we have to pay to make this better, you know.
President Prabowo suggested that another 4 or 5 million hectares might be claimed by the government.
The intention of the president are basically very clear, you know. The government should control also this kind of palm oil because we make billions of dollars from that. Good for the people of Indonesia.
Prabowo faced a second major test in August 2025 as Indonesia's middle class was shrinking and food prices were soaring. A video of lawmakers dancing in parliament caught the public's eye. Days later, mass protests erupted when those same parliamentarians received increased allowances worth 10 times Jakarta's minimum wage. When police ran over and killed a man not involved in the protests, I witnessed the situation get even worse.
There's a lot of simmering anger that's built up within the Indonesian public that have brought them out to the streets.
Buildings were torched, at least 10 people were killed, more than 6,000 people were arrested. I've come to the Central Jakarta District Court, where 4 activists are being prosecuted for inciting violence towards government authorities.
Del Pedro, how are you feeling?
Young director of a human rights foundation, Del Pedro Marhain, is on trial for social media posts.
Well, this trial is a long, drawn-out process. It's heard one day a week and it could potentially take months.
On the defence team is Usman Hamid, veteran protester of the Suharto years and the head of Amnesty International Indonesia.
Del Pedro and others were like the frontliners of pro-democracy activists, like the new generations, the Gen Z that we expected to take a lead in protecting, defending democracy in Indonesia and preventing Indonesia from going back to the dark side of history. I'm 100% sure that the prosecutions against him is malicious prosecution.
Is the government trying to stymie a kind of a rebellion or an uprising against them, would you say?
I think so, yeah. So I feel like I'm being taken back to my student time, the years where I was hoping that Indonesia could really be a democracy, and now we're going back in reverse. There is no opposition, there is no checks and balances, there is no enough space for public criticisms and protests.
Even being a comedian in Indonesia can be risky. In January, it became a crime to insult the president. Panji Pragiwaksono is Indonesia's top stand-up comedian with a #1 Netflix special.
Jadi mungkin Wiranto bilang, Prabowo, amankan Jakarta. Siap, culik aktivis. Apa?
Evidently he's the president now, so I guess he must have done something right. It might be the dancing.
In the special, you made fun of exactly the dancing, the cuddly or gemoy, kind of image that the president had. Did that resonate with people? Do you think?
I think so, yeah. There's this saying in Indonesia that Indonesian people forgets easily. Like every 5 years, we always talk about what Prabowo did in the 90s, like late 90s. And it seems like people just, I don't know, forgot about it.
Could you get in trouble with the law because of this special?
They want me to come to the Polda Metro Jaya for questioning.
You've been summoned to the police station?
Yes, that's the word.
Is freedom of expression or freedom of speech under threat?
I believe so, yeah.
So do you feel intimidated into telling safer jokes?
No. No. I can't help it. If comedians are worried about what can or what they cannot say in their jokes, there's a serious problem in this country.
Panji was later questioned by police for 8 hours. George Orwell wrote that who controls the past controls the future. And the history of President Suharto is being rewritten. Late last year, his reputation was officially rehabilitated. He's now been awarded the title of National Hero. At this ceremony, 2 of his children accepted the award in his honour. there are fears Indonesia's past is being revised too.
Hadirin sekalian, Kementerian Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia dengan bangga memperkenalkan buku sejarah Indonesia, dinamika kebangsaan dalam arus global.
A new government-approved history of Indonesia has just been revealed by close Prabowo ally and culture minister Fadli Zon.
And Fadli, with the official history books project, there's been criticism that it's whitewashing Indonesia's dark past. Do you agree with this?
No, that's nothing to do with that. It's written not by me, not by the Minister of Culture. It's written by historians, 123 historians from all over the country.
But it's been commissioned by your office.
We just facilitate.
So if it's found to gloss over, say, details in 1998, no?
No.
If it is found, though, is the responsibility with your office?
It's by historian. It's written by the historian. So nothing to do.
One man who knows that history only too well is Marzuki Darusman. The former Attorney General exposed corruption and human rights abuses of the Suharto regime.
What was your reaction to that, naming the authoritarian President Suharto as a national hero?
It's a foreboding of a return of that period. So many signs are pointing in that direction. The renewed role of the military and the country, the primacy given to the police force.
Should the Indonesian public be worried?
It should. It should. A dark cloud is looming, you know. Briefly, I think what we're looking at is a emergence of a continuation of the new order, which was led by his father-in-law. That requires a rewriting of history.
So the Prabowo era is starting to resemble the Suharto era?
Yes, it is.
Every week for the last 19 years, human rights protesters gather across from the presidential palace. They want fellow Indonesians never to forget the past. On Friday, after 6 months behind bars, the 4 activists Usman Hamid was defending were acquitted. The verdict described as an oasis in the rollback of Indonesia's democracy.
Selamat sore semuanya. Boleh nggak merapat? Tapi perjuangan yang hampir selesai tiba-tiba musnah. Reformasi kini menjadi kedok.